Hi, this is Charles Hoskinson broadcasting live from warm, sunny Colorado. Always sunny, especially at night here in Colorado. It is currently 12:40 a.m. I'm still at work, still working hard. Anyway, just a few updates. So I was going to shoot the security video today, and I did. I shot a 2-hour version of it, and I thought a lot. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to do one more version of it because I'm going to change it one more time. And I think that I finally got the right recipe. I'm also going to shoot this one with a virtualized version of Linux within my Windows operating system. So I should actually show people what it looks like to do the cold boot part. So tomorrow I'll shoot that pending sleep. In addition to that, we released Daedalus 2.01 today, and it contains a fix for the stake pool presentation issue. So many of you were aware of this bug. For some weird reason, Daedalus was only displaying about 2/3 of the registered stake pools, and we managed to correct that today. There's going to be a litany of fixes for the wallet backend coming tomorrow, most of which are exchange related, and some improvements here and there. We are fully aware of some performance issues, especially on Windows for certain users of the wallet. So what happens is they sync to about 98, 99%, and then it really slows down on the tail. It's because they're transitioning from Byron to Shelley blocks. These are things that can be smoothed out in short order when we do performance profiling, and we've already identified several areas in the ledger rules which can be optimized considerably. So these slowdowns will be resolved soon. Soon being in the coming days to weeks, not months. So we know what's going on there. But all things considered, things are moving the right direction. Exchanges are still working pretty hard, and everybody's moving in the right direction. And things are looking pretty good. That said, given that the Smash metadata server is coming this week instead of last week, there was the stake pool presentation issue, and exchanges are still having difficulty getting the integration completely done, which even if it happens this week, many of people who left their ADA on exchanges don't have access to it. It opens up an interesting conversation of whether the decrementing of D should be pushed out in Epoch to give stake pools a more fair chance. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow in the executive meeting, and we'll have some discussions with some stake pool operators. It's really not fair, given that some people registered but they weren't presented. They had a competitive disadvantage against other people. So it's worthwhile to have a conversation about it. But as launches go, this one's not too bad. Just we're not sleeping very much trying to get through everything to make sure that all the little rough edges are smoothed out. So anyway, to recap, Daedalus 2.0.1 was shipped today. It looks good. The stake pool presentation issue is resolved. A lot of exchange fixes are coming tomorrow on the wallet backend, and that should resolve all the issues or most of the issues that they've complained about. We have some specific logic for specific exchanges, but the backend team is pulling an all-nighter as well to get all that stuff through. And then we're aware of the performance issues. They're going to be addressed systematically, and we'll work our way through it. I'm also assigning some additional resources to Smash to fix the tail of it, because there's still some issues with replays that need to be done with Smash. So there's some additional features to add there, but we'll get it out this week for stake pools. And those are the last features required for Shelley to end-to-end make Shelley as usable and awesome as possible. So we'll make a statement about D and whether that's going to go on schedule, or if we're going to push it out one epoch to give stake pools a little bit more time to attract more customers and to make sure that their brand identity is there. But that's a discussion for tomorrow. But I just wanted to give everybody a quick update to let them know that updates are coming. One came out today, and at least one more this week, perhaps two. And then next week we'll have another update as well. So things are being pushed along. The Roy guys are also looking like me. They're not sleeping very much. And they're trying to get Roy fully functional, and it's almost where it needs to be. And the exchange guys aren't sleeping very much either. They're pushing along, and things are getting done there. As with all launches, this is exactly what you expect. It's certainly a lot of fun. I got a lot of work to do myself. And now, as for the IO Global stake pools, many of you mentioned our pools that we've registered. And as I've said in the prior video, and I'll say again, we're still debating internal configurations, the balance between public and private pools, and if to go with a overall community delegation strategy. So right now we're in the experimentation and testing phase, and we haven't consolidated as an organization to a strategy yet. So we'll be discussing that with the community internally. We'll also be doing a lot of calculations of margins and these types of things. So that'll come, but don't worry too much about it. Stop going to Twitter and complaining about stuff. Guys, we're getting all through it together. Anyway, I'll shoot the video tomorrow, the 4th version of it for security. This one I shot today was 2 hours long. I got to show off a really cool litany of things. For example, this is an Apricorn Aegis security key. It's a FIPS 140-2 compliant device. You can actually see the hardware keyboard that it has. I also was getting very deep into the YubiKey controller and trying to make some decisions about what to do with the YubiKey. So that's a YubiKey. It's a U2FA device that's really best in class, and they're damn near indestructible. Today I was signing PGP messages and encrypting things with it. I was also using the static password field and playing around with the pin logic in it. It's almost where it needs to be, but not quite. Although I think I've come up with a reasonable scheme that I think everybody's going to be happy with, or most people be happy with, to secure your private keys, and also teach people a little bit about how to create a secure operating environment, how to think about information security, and then also how to secure your web footprint, so your entire digital presence, so the websites you go to, the passwords you use, and all these things. And all you have to do for all of this end-to-end is just remember 2 PIN codes that are 10 digits long each. And I also will include a beautiful link to something called, I'll just get the name right because I always forget it and it's so goddamn late at night. No sleep for the wicked. Yes, the number shape system. And I'll include a link for how to memorize those 2 10-digit PIN codes. And you'll have a very secure user experience and secure everything. And you'll just be happy. And huzzah. It's about $200 entry price for all of it. So hope you enjoy the video tomorrow. If I don't go to version 5, infosec is something that takes its time. You have to do it right. And the updates are coming through, and people are working really hard on that. And they will come through this week and next week. And I think everybody will be pretty happy by the end of next week. Certainly, mostly happy by the end of this week. And not done. New features are coming. The Hardware Wallet Center will work its way into Daedalus, hopefully sometime this month. It's certainly this will be a feature, at least in flight. Because I'd like to start being able to delegate from a Ledger device. The firmware is ready for that. It's just we need to get the interface and Daedalus turned on for it, and that should be relatively straightforward. We're also exploring new features such as one-to-many for wallet delegation, and trying to discuss what will be necessary to get us there, as well as delegating from a multi-sig account, which is a requirement I have. And we'll see what we need to do to get there as well. And we'll push the teams pretty hard. But that's a conversation for another time. All right. I'm going to go get a little bit of sleep and then get up very early in the morning to keep the drum beating on the European side. So y'all take care. Enjoy Shelley as much as I'm certainly enjoying it. And we'll keep putting in the work. Thank you for all love, kindness, and support. Oh, one last thing. There's this bizarre thread on 4chan. I know I should stay away from it, but I occasionally see it from time to time. And apparently they're saying something like, IO Global is bankrupt. That's not true. We're not even close. It's based on a statement I made in my Haskell rebuttal video where I was pointing out that the funding for Cardano on our side ran out. And it's true. We took a $32 million contract and we are well over budget, which means that the money that we spend to do the things we do, we're no longer compensated for. I have to pay for that out of the company's general funds. And I'm glad to do that. And I'm happy to do that because we don't leave till the job gets done. But we were not compensated for the work we've been doing all this year and some of last year. So that was my point there. I'm not sure how people infer that IO Global is not doing well, but we're doing quite well, and everything's fine, all things considered. But that was the reference there. So I guess that's just the way the internet works. But, it's money well spent. I love Cardano. It's a great platform. It's a great ecosystem. I'm finally excited we get to use the damn thing to do the things that I've always wanted to do throughout my career. We're not too far off from native assets and smart contracts, and we have really a phenomenal system pulling its way together. It's almost 700 stake pools registered. We'll be well over 1,000 by August. Some people point out that a stake pool registered doesn't map one-to-one to people, and that's true. But if you actually look at the amount of real heartbeats behind the registrations, it's several hundred, and we get more decentralized over time. And as the value of ADA goes up, there is more decentralization overall, which is what we were looking for in the design of the protocol. And all things are starting to move in the right direction, like the peer-to-peer profiling will come out at the tail end of August and throughout September and October. And then after that, they're going to begin working on pub-sub style things. So you can do decentralized multi-sig without a coordination server. And we're seeing a litany of things that are occurring on the consensus side and the ledger side. And we're seeing a lot of improvements on this concept of native assets in the extended UTXO model, and a lot of improvements in the concept of Plutus in general. So those evolutionary factors are looking very good and very promising for 2021. That said, Voltaire is also looking very promising. Every 6 to 8 weeks, we're evolving it. And so the first fund after that comes out, in the next 6 to 8 weeks, another fund will come out. In another 6 to 8 weeks, another fund will come out. And the voting capabilities are going to broaden. So we'll start with a cell phone app, but then we'll move to Daedalus and Yoroi, hopefully Yoroi. But we know for certain Daedalus, but we suspect Yoroi will also have a voting center. And so we'll have a great voting experience, very easy voting registration experience, and a very good way of dealing with the innovation management side of ballots, and a very good way of dealing with ballot submission. And we already have one partner lined up to work with us on the innovation management side. They've been in that business for a long time, and we're working with Submittable for the ballot submission side. So we already have two great companies that we're working with on that. So what this means is that every iteration of Voltaire, we get a considerable improvement of user experience, participation, ballot quality, and we get real data on how to improve the system. That's a beautiful feedback loop. So as we get through the year and get into Q1 of next year, the system will mature into a very powerful end-to-end voting system. At the same time, the foundation is building out the CIP process, the CRC process, and we're building out the decentralized update system. So these two things will collide in Q1 of 2021, and then we'll turn on a concept that we're not quite ready to announce yet, but that's for how we'll get the next major contract to do a next major grouping of work throughout 2021 and beyond. So Voltaire is looking great, and it's our most agile project with our most agile team. The team that built the ITN is building Voltaire, so they're able to work very quickly, like literally in a week time frame. They can show something, and over several weeks they can actually build major improvements to things. And it's exciting to see that work its way into the ecosystem, on tandem with the Goguen release and the Byron release as well. On the Hydra team, Rob Cohen is actually here in Colorado, and he's the head of the team. And so we talk on a daily basis. And what we're going to do is start prototyping probably in late August, early September. We have to clear out the Shelley tail. But that prototyping team, we're also going to train up on TLA Plus. And we're going to see if the team at the same time as building a prototype can start writing a formal specification in TLA Plus for Hydra. And we'll see if we bring some partners in to help refine the tail protocol and the head tail protocol and the routing protocols that exist. And it would actually be really interesting to rewrite the TLA, the Bolt spec in TLA Plus, and write Hydra as a superset of the Bolt spec. What this would effectively accomplish is that we would first have a formal specification for Bolt, but more importantly, Bolt would then be interoperable within the context of Hydra. We'd find a way to combine both together. So we'll get around to that. That's a little bit longer out, and it requires us to have the head and tail and the head tail and routing protocols figured out before we go down that road. But the Bolt spec needs an update anyway. And there's an interesting conversation about the emulation of UTXO and extended UTXO and the Ethereum accounts model together. So we're already looking at bisimulation between accounts and extended UTXO. It's part of the Plutus research agenda, so we can transfer state between the two systems, contracts between the two systems. But UTXO is a subset, so it's interesting to see what types of functionality we'll be able to derive from all of that. So the Hydra team is at that point. They're doing rapid prototyping. They're going to be doing some rapid specification development. And we should probably have a lot more to say in the last quarter of this year about where that's going. But what's nice about it is you get everything you want. You get fast finality, sub-second latency on transaction confirmation. You get the ability to go on and off chain quickly. And then what's going to be nice is cross-chain communication, basically figuring out how to do that and use it within that framework. And it'd be really cool to see if we get interoperability with Lightning. So lots going on that side. On the Basho side, it's kind of subtle and underneath the water, but research is ongoing. And we'll see if we can bring in some research partners as well. I have some ideas in mind for that. But that's for another conversation, another time. So all in all, way too expensive, way too long, but damn it, it's worth it. It took a lot to get here, and I'm glad Shelley's out. It's exceeded my expectations. We're decentralizing very rapidly. Communities definitely stepped up. They've provided invaluable QA. They've provided invaluable advice. We're already talking about the next set of game theory and thoughts about parameterization of the system. We're already discussing K. We're already going through all these things ahead of schedule in that respect. So it's a testimony to just how smart this community is and how hard everybody's worked to help us get here. August is going to be an expensive month in terms of time and effort to get everything cleaned up. And also people need time off, and we're going to make sure we accommodate that because they worked too hard to get us here. And we're not going to stop beating the drum in September and on. You know, Goggen's coming and we need to get that out. And we're real excited to see all those things. And I'll take a much more personal hand in Daedalus's development because there's a lot of features on the backlog that I've been dying to see for a long time. And I think we have a chance to really take Daedalus to the next level and make it just a phenomenal wallet. It already is pretty good, but we have a chance to make it truly phenomenal. So that's coming as well. Okay. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Hope you liked the update. I'm going to go get some sleep. Good night.